Let me ask you something. When was the last time you heard anyone talk openly about a woman over 70 and her pleasure? It's almost as if, after a certain age, we're expected to stop feeling, stop exploring, stop enjoying. Well, I'm here to say that's nonsense. And today we're going to talk about it, openly, honestly, and without shame. Before we dive in, let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Susan Hartley, a women's health specialist with over 25 years of experience working with women in midlife and beyond. I've had the privilege of guiding thousands of women through menopause, intimacy changes, pelvic health challenges, and emotional transitions that come with aging. Let me begin by saying this: if you've never talked openly about masturbation, especially as a woman in her 70s, 80s, or beyond, you are not alone. In fact, I'd say the vast majority of women your age have either never had that conversation or have only whispered about it behind closed doors. It's no surprise. Many of us grew up in a time when pleasure wasn't spoken about, especially not female pleasure, and certainly not at our age. But here's something important I want you to know: the conversation around self-touch, around honoring our own bodies, doesn't expire. It doesn't stop because we hit a certain birthday. Our curiosity, our need for connection, our right to feel good in our own skin, that doesn't fade with time. In fact, in many ways it becomes even more vital as we age. You see, when we don't talk about things, when we tuck them away in silence or shame, it sends a message to ourselves and others that something is wrong, that we are wrong, and that's just not true. Masturbation is not only natural, it's one of the simplest ways a woman can remain in touch with her body, her needs, and her joy. I've spoken to many women over 70 who have quietly asked, "Is it still okay for me to do that?" Or, "Is there something wrong with me if I still want to touch myself?" My answer is always the same: there is nothing wrong with you. In fact, there's something wonderfully right about it. Wanting to feel connected, to explore pleasure, or to simply take a moment for yourself. It's not shameful. It's human, and it's healthy. We live in a world that often acts as though older women become invisible once we pass a certain age. We're expected to stop wanting, stop feeling, stop expressing. And we're certainly not supposed to be sexual beings, at least, not according to the magazines, the movies, or even most doctors' offices. But let me tell you something: from one woman to another, they're wrong. Your body is still yours. Your desires, whatever they may be, are still real. And your right to explore them didn't vanish with menopause. This isn't just about sex. It's about ownership of your body, your time, and your identity. Self-pleasure is, at its core, an act of self-care. It's like taking a bubble bath or sitting in the sun with a good book. It's about choosing yourself, and after a lifetime of caring for others, raising families, supporting partners, working hard, you deserve to choose yourself. Let's talk about some of the real, physical benefits of masturbation, especially for women in our age group. Because this isn't just about emotional connection, it's about our health. First of all, masturbation is one of the most natural stress relievers out there. When you touch yourself in a way that feels good, your body releases endorphins and oxytocin, those feel-good chemicals that can lift your mood and help your body relax. For many women, this means there's better sleep. And let's be honest, sleep doesn't always come easy in our 70s. If a few moments of gentle pleasure help calm your nervous system and ease you into rest, isn't that something worth celebrating? It also helps with blood circulation, especially in the vaginal area, which is important post-menopause. As we age, we may experience dryness, thinning tissue, or discomfort due to hormonal changes. Masturbation increases blood flow, which can help keep tissues more supple and responsive. It can also encourage natural lubrication. For some women, this simple practice can reduce discomfort or even prevent painful intercourse if they are sexually active with a partner. Even if you're not sexually active, especially if you're not, it's still vital to stay connected to your body. Think of it like exercising a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. Regular stimulation of the pelvic region, even gentle touch, can help maintain sensitivity and function. It doesn't have to be about climax. It can simply be about contact, presence, and tenderness toward yourself. Then there's the emotional and psychological benefit, something I think we don't talk about enough. As we get older, many women experience feelings of loneliness, especially after losing a partner, living alone, or moving into a quieter stage of life. While masturbation isn't a replacement for connection, it is a way to remind yourself that you are still whole, still present in your own body, still here. Touch can be grounding. It can be comforting. It can be a way of saying to yourself, I still matter. I once had a woman tell me that after her husband passed away, she thought her sensual life was over. For decades, she had only associated pleasure with being with someone else. But after some time and reflection, she decided to gently explore her own body again. She told me, with tears in her eyes, that she felt alive again. That's what this conversation is about. It's not just about the act of masturbation, but about the reclaiming of self. There is also a quiet dignity in pleasure at our age. It's not about performance. It's not about what someone else wants or expects. It's about listening to yourself, honoring your rhythms, and letting go of old messages that no longer serve you. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you choose to care for your body. And you certainly don't need permission to experience joy. Let's be honest. Some women might say, but I don't feel desire like I used to. That's okay. Desire changes with age, with health, with mood. It ebbs and flows. You don't need to feel the same as you did at 30 or 50. What matters is that you stay open to your own needs, whatever they are. For some women, it's a weekly ritual. For others, it's occasional. For many, it's simply the act of reconnecting with a body they've spent too long ignoring. And if it feels awkward or new, or even a little silly, that's okay too. You're learning something different, something that wasn't encouraged when we were younger. Be gentle with yourself. You don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to show up for yourself. Yes, this is why I believe we need to talk about masturbation, especially as older women. Not because it's trendy or taboo, but because it's true. It's real. It's part of being human. And you are still gloriously, beautifully human. One of the biggest obstacles I see when it comes to older women embracing masturbation is not physical. It's emotional. It's the myths we've been told over and over again. Messages we've absorbed from our culture, our families, our upbringing. Messages that whisper, that's not for women like you. Or worse, that's shameful. But let me tell you something I've learned from decades of listening to women just like you. Those messages are not truths. They are just stories. And the beautiful thing about stories is that we can write new ones. A common myth I hear is, I'm too old for that now. I understand where that comes from. Society doesn't exactly show us many women in their 70s or 80s enjoying their bodies or expressing their sensuality. We're often portrayed as quiet, passive, or completely uninterested in physical pleasure. But the reality is, desire doesn't come with an expiration date, and neither does curiosity. I've had women in their 80s tell me that they are only just now discovering what feels good to them. And what a joy that is. Age may change the body, but it does not erase your right to feel good. Another myth we need to gently lay to rest is the idea that masturbation is somehow shameful. For many of us, especially those raised in religious or conservative households, this idea runs deep. We were taught to associate sexual pleasure with guilt or secrecy. Some of us were told that our bodies were dirty or that pleasure was something only men were supposed to enjoy. Those messages can be hard to shake, even decades later. But I want you to hear this from me clearly. There is no shame in knowing your own body. There is no shame in seeking comfort, connection, or pleasure in a way that harms no one. If anything, there is strength in it. There is wisdom in honoring what your body is telling you. And then there's the idea that masturbation is only for younger people, or for those in relationships. That if you're single, widowed, or simply not interested in a partner, then there's no reason to explore your own body. But nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, I believe that self-pleasure becomes even more meaningful when you are on your own. It's a way of connecting with yourself, not just physically, but emotionally. It's a reminder that you don't need anyone else's permission to feel good. Your body is still yours. It always has been. Some women have told me, I wouldn't even know where to start. And that's such an honest and understandable feeling. If this is new to you, or if it's been a long time, starting can feel awkward or even intimidating. But it doesn't have to be. In fact, I encourage you to approach it like you would any new habit of self-care, gently, curiously, and without pressure. The first step is simply creating a space where you feel relaxed and safe. That might be your bedroom, your favorite chair, even the bath, somewhere that feels private and peaceful. Light a candle if you'd like, put on some soft music. Give yourself permission to be present. It's not about rushing. It's not about a goal. It's about being with yourself. Then begin with gentle touch. You don't have to go straight to your genitals. Start by touching your arms, your chest, your thighs. Notice what feels nice. Let your hands become a way of saying, "Hello, body, I'm listening." When and if you feel comfortable, explore further. Let yourself notice what kinds of pressure, pace, or rhythm feel best. There's no right or wrong. There's only what feels good to you. Lubrication can make a big difference, especially for women post-menopause. Our bodies naturally produce less moisture over time, and that's completely normal. Using a good quality water-based lubricant can make the experience more comfortable and enjoyable. Don't be afraid to try different products and find what suits you. This isn't about pushing through discomfort, it's about creating ease. You might also consider using a vibrator or other gentle device, especially if arthritis or limited mobility makes it harder to use your hands. There are many products out there designed specifically for older women, simple, non-intimidating and easy to use. This isn't about replacing human touch, it's about supporting your own. And if you find your mind wandering, or old voices of guilt creeping in, try taking a deep breath and reminding yourself, this is your time. You are not doing anything wrong, you are getting to know yourself in a new way. Think of it as a journey, not a destination. For those of you who want a little guidance, there are wonderful books and resources out there that talk about female pleasure and aging with honesty and respect. You might find comfort in reading stories from other women your age who are exploring this part of themselves for the first time, or the first time in a long time. You are not alone. You are part of a quiet, powerful movement of women reclaiming their bodies and their pleasure. Journaling after a self-pleasure session can be helpful too. It doesn't have to be fancy. Just write what you felt, physically, emotionally, mentally. Were there any moments of joy, any resistance, any memories that came up? This kind of reflection can help you stay connected to the experience and notice how you grow more comfortable over time. This process is not just about touch, it's about trust. Trusting your body, trusting your feelings, trusting that your needs still matter. And they do. Your needs matter just as much now as they ever did, perhaps even more. So many of us have spent our lives focused on everyone else, on caring for children, spouses, parents, friends. We've been caretakers, nurturers, listeners. But now, perhaps more than ever, is the time to turn that same tenderness inward, to care for yourself the way you've cared for so many others. Masturbation can be one small, powerful way to do that. You deserve moments of joy. You deserve to feel connected. You deserve to explore. You deserve to come home to your body, just as it is today. Something I hear often from women in their 70s and beyond is, even if I wanted to talk about this, who would I talk to? And I understand. For many of us, masturbation was never discussed, even with close friends. It was something we were taught to keep hidden, tucked away in silence. But I want to gently offer a new idea. Talking about self-pleasure, when done in a safe and supportive space, can be liberating. It can be healing. And most importantly, it can remind you that you're not the only one thinking about these things. Opening up doesn't mean you have to announce anything to the world. It could start with a quiet conversation with a trusted friend. Someone you've shared life with, someone who has seen you through the highs and lows. You might be surprised how many of your friends are curious or have similar questions, but were just waiting for someone to speak first. I've had women tell me that when they finally brought up the topic with a close friend, maybe over tea, maybe during a walk, it led to one of the most honest and freeing conversations they'd ever had. The simple act of saying, "Have you ever thought about?" can be the beginning of connection and validation. And of course you can, and should, talk to your doctor. That includes questions about changes in your body, vaginal dryness, discomfort, or even just checking in about what's normal and what's not. Please know that this is part of your health. Your sexual wellness matters just as much as your blood pressure or your cholesterol. If your doctor brushes off your concerns or makes you feel embarrassed, it might be time to find someone new. A good doctor should listen to you without judgment and answer your questions with respect and care. Some women have told me they worry they'll be laughed at or not taken seriously if they bring up this topic. And I want you to know your voice matters. Your questions are valid. And your well-being deserves attention, no matter your age. If you feel unsure, you can start small. You might say something like, "I've been reading about intimacy after 70 and I'd like to ask a few questions." That's a simple, clear way to open the door. A caring doctor will walk through that door with you. There's something deeply powerful about breaking the silence. Every time a woman like you speaks up, even quietly, it sends a message to the world, and to other women, that this part of life matters. That you matter. You may never know the impact of your honesty, but I promise you, it ripples out. It gives permission for others to do the same. As we bring this conversation to a close, I want to speak to something even deeper than touch or technique. I want to speak to your wholeness, to who you are beyond age, beyond skin, beyond expectation. Because this journey, this exploration of self-pleasure, is not only about the body, it's about dignity, identity, and joy. You are not invisible. You have not passed some imaginary point of no return. Your body may have changed, but it is still a vessel of wisdom, memory, and grace. It has carried you through every stage of life. It deserves kindness. It deserves tenderness. It deserves celebration. Masturbation at this stage in life is not about chasing youth. It's not about trying to be someone you once were. It's about embracing the woman you are now, with all the freedom, softness, and confidence that age brings. It's about honoring your needs instead of ignoring them. It's about giving yourself the permission to feel, to explore, to enjoy. This isn't about performance or pressure. You don't have to achieve anything. You don't have to compare yourself to the past. This is about choosing yourself fully and without apology. And that choice is radical in a world that often tells older women to fade quietly into the background. But I believe you have more light to share, more truth to tell, more moments of pleasure and peace ahead of you. This part of life, your 70s, 80s, 90s, is not the end. It's a continuation, a deepening, a chance to rewrite old stories with new language of compassion, of self-trust, of joy. So my message to you, dear one, is this: you are allowed. You are allowed to touch, to feel, to wonder, to laugh. You are allowed to say, this is for me. You are allowed to explore without shame. And you are allowed to begin, whether it's for the first time or the first time in a long time. There is no expiration date on self-love, and there is no limit to the ways we can rediscover ourselves. It is never too late to listen to your body. It is never too late to honor your desire. And it is never too late to choose you. You are worthy. You are wise. And you are whole. Let's keep having these conversations. Let's keep lifting each other up. You deserve every moment of joy this life still has to offer.